Okay, I would like to show you how I attach a pocket to the back of the blue jeans that I'm making. And first of all, I would like to talk to you a little bit about some of the tools that I'm using. So I'm using my BERNINA 770 sewing machine. This particular machine is designed to accommodate 9mm stitches. So this is the stitch plate that usually you will see on the machine. And I changed that out though for a straight stitch plate because if I'm just sewing straight stitches, it provides a much nicer stitch. So that's my preference. So if you own a machine that gives you that capability, I recommend doing that. Just remember that you do that. Now on this machine, I could tell the machine that I have that plate in there, and it won't let me do a zigzag so that I'm not hitting metal and metal. But anyway, so I chose my straight stitch plate, and for top stitching work, I actually like to use my patchwork foot, the patchwork foot that is designed for 9mm feed dogs. The reason I want a wider foot is so that when my presser foot is putting pressure on my fabric, the pressure is right above the feed dogs, and that ensures more even feeding and a better stitch quality. So I put my presser foot on, and then I lower the upper feed dog because I do want to use dual feed. Another reason I like using the patchwork foot for blue jean work is because I put one row of top stitching, and then I put another row 1/4 of an inch away, and it's just very uniform. I'm also using a triple stitch. That is a stitch that is available in most BERNINA machines, and it should be available in most other brands as well. And that stitch simply comes forward, backwards, forward, second stitch, backwards, forward, third stitch, backwards, forward. And so I can use a 40 weight isocord thread, which I like to use in garment work. It's a polyester thread. It's really strong, and I really like it. It's also used in machine embroidery. But the triple stitch gives me a beautiful top stitching stitch. I'm using a size 14 denim needle for this. I did some embroidery work on my pockets first, and I'm going to be incorporating these designs all the way down one of the pant legs too, just to create a real sort of fashion forward pair of blue jeans. I love blue poppies, so that's why that's there. So I did the embroidery work on my pockets first. So this pocket is already sewn in place. Now I'm going to get ready and sew the second pocket, and I want you to see my process here. So the first thing I'm going to pull out is my height compensation tool. This tool comes with every BERNINA sewing machine. It's just an inexpensive little accessory. Your BERNINA dealers should have these available also if you want to buy one if you've lost yours, or if one didn't come with your machine. Also, if you don't have a tool like this, you can take some denim and fold it over till you get the same height here. Just don't sew this down to the actual project. The reason for the height compensation is so that you have pressure on your entire feed dog system. Okay, so I'm going to start 1/8 of an inch away. Notice that I'm actually holding that top thread first. That's to make sure I don't get a nest of thread in the back. And I want to do a little back stitching, and I'm also trying to make sure that I don't hit that height compensation tool, because this machine is powerful enough that the needle will get stuck in it. So when you're using a stitch like the triple stitch, and like I said, many machines have a triple stitch on it, don't pull on your fabric, because if you play tug of war with your fabric and your sewing machine, you're not going to have a nice stitch when you're done. You want to let the feed dogs move your fabric. Another thing you want to pay attention to when you're working with a triple stitch is the progression of the stitch. So if you'll notice, the stitch comes forward one, goes backwards, forward again, before it goes on to the next stitch. So you want to be at the last stage of the stitch prior to raising your presser foot and pivoting your project. Raise presser foot, pivot, lower presser foot. And you'll notice I just have a couple of pins securing my pocket to the pant leg. And they're not close to my stitching line so that I can easily move them out of the way. I don't have to remove them. And then do a little bit of back stitching, cut my thread. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the parallel stitches. Now some people might choose to just do one row of stitches on the pocket, and that's fine. I mean, you're the designer of the clothing that you're gonna make for yourself, right? I like to. I just really like that. So same thing, I'm gonna use my height compensation tool. I'm going to start almost 1/4 inch in, go backwards a little bit, get the tool out of my way, and like I said, you can make your own tool just by folding fabric up. Pivot. And just a reminder, pay attention to the progression of the stitch, so that when you pivot, you're not sewing backwards prior to sewing forward. It's a very easy mistake to make, and I have a lot of sewing experience, and I still make mistakes like that. And I have a kind of oh well attitude about it, and I typically don't rip it out. I just live with it. Backwards and cut my thread. So now I have 2 pockets ready to go. You can see my top stitching here, and I'm using the ginger jean pattern. I really like it. It fits me really well, and they're just really fun to make your own blue jeans. So I got both of my back pockets done. So stay tuned for the next video.